रेडी? नोट डाउन करेंगे कुछ वर्ड्स. I shall be. We shall be. We wish. We shall be glad. We shall be glad if you will. We shall be obliged. We shall be obliged if you will. We wish to inform you. We wish to inform you in this connection. We shall be. We wish. We wish to inform you. We wish to inform you. We shall be glad. We shall be glad. We shall be glad if you will. If you will. We shall be obliged. BL. We shall be obliged if you will. इफ को ओमिट कर देंगे, अंडरस्टूड पड़े अपने आप से पड़ जाएगा. We wish to inform you in this connection. लिखूंगा एक साथ. We wish to inform you. We wish to inform you in this connection. We shall be glad. We shall be glad if you will. We shall be obliged. We shall be obliged if you will. अब आप 100 भी लिखेंगे पहले, और जो आपको ये कंटेंट मिलेगा SSC C D ग्रेड टेस्ट 45 YouTube@100 पे मिल जाएगा, और फिर उसके बाद 80 वाला 80 पे मिलेगा इस URL पे. फुल स्टॉप का गैप दिया जाएगा, प्रॉपरली फुल स्टॉप लगा के चलेंगे, और टाइप करते टाइम पे स्मॉल कैपिटल का ध्यान रखेंगे. रेडी? Start it. Mr. Chairman, the discussion on the resolution put forward by Mr. Sinha and the substitute motion put forward by Mr. Das has turned out to be a discussion in the nature of a general discussion of the budget of the All India Radio. I do not want to go into all the considerations which have been put forward, but I want to say one thing about the substitute motion that has been put forward by Mr. Das. I think in India we are developing a passion for having committees and commissions. We want a committee or a commission for every blessed thing that there is in India. I think there are millions and millions of things in India. I would say that before we think of having any other commission or committee appointed, we should first of all read the reports of those committees and commissions which are before us, digest them and take action on them, and then think of doing something else. For instance, what is the record of the Ministry of Broadcasting in the matter of the Film Inquiry Committee report? They have now the Press Commission's report. The two bodies have been set up by this ministry. What action has been taken on the report of the Film Inquiry Committee and what action is going to be taken on the report of the Press Commission? I think that the Press Commission's report may be thrown into cold storage. We will not allow it to be thrown into cold storage. I know what has happened to the report of the Film Inquiry Committee. Therefore, I say that this passion for committees and commissions should be curbed, and we should not run away with the idea that the commissions will provide the panacea for all our ills and that a committee will cure all our difficulties and troubles. Therefore, I think it is no use appointing a commission at this stage to go into the question of broadcasting. There is another thing. My friend has been asking for the appointment of a corporation. I am a member of the Lok Sabha, and if you ask me to be a party to the appointment of a corporation, it would be tantamount of this that I abrogate almost all my responsibilities and privileges as a member of the Lok Sabha. I was saying that the need is for direct control. The control should not be slackened for a minute. Unless it is done, I am sure the lines on which these persons want the radio to develop will not be possible. Why I say that there should be perpetual vigilance on the part of Parliament is for this reason. If there is corporation, my honorable friend, the Minister of Information and Broadcasting will be the most happy person. He will have all the privileges which he is having now, and he will not have the necessity of coming before us to give answers to our questions and to submit to us reports. He will have all the privileges and very little responsibility for that. I say that the control which the Parliament exercises over the All India Radio at the time of the budget is sufficient to make these people wake up. It is sufficient to make these people active who are slack. It is sufficient for those people who practice nepotism to be fair. And if there is a corporation, the whole thing will go away, and we shall not have any control over the All India Radio. Now we have control over appointments through the Public Service Commission, and if we have a corporation, I do not think you will have that control. We have control over the All India Radio on account of the Public Accounts Committee and the Estimates Committee. My friends have said that the Estimates Committee has suggested 92 improvements to be made in the All India Radio. I think that shows how effectively and how comprehensively the work has been done. When work of that kind is being done by the Estimates Committee and the public account committee, and when the whole thing comes before the house, I do not see why we should have a corporation of this kind. We in India, in this transitional era, are suffering from self-contradictory impulses. On the one hand, I see on the floor of this house something being said that we should not take this country or that country as our model, and on the other hand, a gentleman wants us to follow the BBC model or some other model. That is a self-contradictory impulse. Somewhere in the 2004 issue of this quarterly, I find an article not eulogizing the corporation, but an article on the subject of the ills of the British Broadcasting Corporation. The gentleman has gone into the question and given us the reason for that and also the remedies for that. I would therefore say that we do not need a corporation. As far as Khadi is concerned, my own practical experience is that the Khadi board does not have sufficient number of centers, especially in the areas which are the most backward. For instance, in the Sundarbans area, which has only one crop a year and which is actually very poor and backward. As far as industrialization goes, we find hardly any centers, either purchasing or training centers. The other thing we note is that the individual who is spinning at home does not know where to take the yarn because there is no publicity or propaganda to help the individual spinners to go and sell their yarn, with the result that although large amounts of subsidy are being given by government, it is not going to the help of the majority of those who are today wanting some form of cottage industry employment. That is why I feel that it is very essential now that it is being done on a national scale, that government purchasing and training centers should be opened in the areas which are most backward, so that we may not notice this type of shortfall at a time when in every village to which you go, the women, especially the agricultural laboring women, crowd round you and ask you how you are going to give them some form of employment. 1050 के आसपास वर्ड है और 100 की स्पीड है, फ्लेक्सेशन ना के बराबर है, लिस्टों का गैप दिया गया आपको प्रॉपरली। एक वर्ड आता है जेंटलमैन, और ये एक ऐसा वर्ड है प्रोनाउंसिएशन लगभग सेम होता है, आप इसको हमेशा आइडेंटिफाई करते हो इसके बाद की वर्ब को देख के या इससे पहले को देख के हमेशा। एम ए एन यहाँ पे था हैज़, द जेंटलमैन हैज़, तो क्या आएगा एम ए एन, और अगर यहाँ पे है होता एम ए एन हो जाता। इसके पहले भी आया था इसी वर्ड में, इसी में आया था ए जेंटलमैन वांट्स, तो वांट्स आ रहा है तो उससे पहले जो आएगा, हालांकि ए से भी आइडेंटिफाई हो रहा है, तो जो आएगा एम ए एन वाला आएगा, और ये एम ए एन, अगर यहाँ पे एस नहीं होता तो एम ए एन। तो हमेशा इसको आप आइडेंटिफाई करते हो, अगर मान लिया मिसप्रिंट ऊपर नीचे बना भी देते हो ये मैटर नहीं करता, क्योंकि बनाते टाइम पे आप नहीं जज कर सकते, लेकिन रीड बैक करते टाइम पे आप इसको क्लियर कर सकते हो अपने लिए। नेक्स्ट टी पे लिखेंगे। आप में से किसी को डीमार्सी में जॉब करनी है तो 11 बजे ज्वाइनिंग है कि एक बच्चे की। डीएमआरसी में कहीं भी हो तो मैं बता दूंगा आपको। जस्ट रेडी टू ज्वाइन मतलब कि आपको 80-85 की स्पीड हो, टाइपिंग 40 प्लस हो, तो बस जाकर ज्वाइन करना है। हाँ सब है, लेकिन फॉर्मेलिटी है। लिखो। स्टार्ट इट। Mr. Deputy Chairman, sir, in pursuance of the government's policy to secure the active cooperation and involvement of all democratic, secular and progressive forces in the country, it was considered desirable to have a dialogue with Sheikh Mohammed Abdullah. Honorable members are aware that Sheikh Abdullah had played a notable part in the freedom struggle and in the accession of the state of Jammu and Kashmir to the Indian Union. He formed and headed the government of the state for a number of years after independence. Despite the differences which led to the subsequent estrangement, it seemed clear from the public statements made by Sheikh Abdullah as well as personal talks with him that his commitment to basic national ideals and objectives had remained unchanged. He reaffirmed that the accession of the state to the Indian Union was final and irrevocable. His main area of concern was about the legal and constitutional changes made after August 1953. It was decided that Mirza Afzal Beg, whom Sheikh Abdullah named for the purpose, and Sri G. Parthasarathi, whom I entrusted with the task, should examine these changes in depth and make appropriate recommendations. After extensive discussions, they reached agreement on various points which are incorporated in the agreed conclusions, a copy of which is placed on the table of the House. These conclusions form the subject matter of further discussions at a political level, in which Sheikh Abdullah and the Chief Minister of the state and Sardar Swarn Singh participated. As a result of these, an understanding has been reached as disclosed in the letters exchanged between me and Sheikh Abdullah, copies of which are placed on the table of the House. I shall refer to certain basic features of the understanding. The Agreed conclusions have been formulated within the framework of the Constitution of India. The constitutional relationship between the state of Jammu and Kashmir and the Union will continue as it has been, and the extension of further provisions of the Constitution to the state will continue to be governed by the procedure prescribed in Article 370. There will be no weakening of the ties which exist between the Union of India and its constituent units, of which the state of Jammu and Kashmir is one. The existing jurisdiction of the center to deal with activities directed towards questioning or disrupting the sovereignty and territorial integrity of India, or bringing about cessions of any part of the territory of India from the Union will also continue. It has also been agreed that any amendment of the Constitution of the state on certain specified matters of importance will not become effective unless the assent of the President is obtained. The agreed conclusions seek to reassure the state that in case the state government comes up with any proposal to change any central law made after 2003 on matters in the concurrent list such as social welfare measures, cultural matters, social security, procedural laws and the like, the grant of assent to the bill will be sympathetically considered. A proposal was made by Mirza Afzal Beg that the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court in relation to the state should be curtailed. This was not accepted as it is considered important that the Supreme Court should continue to have its original and appellate jurisdiction in the matter of writs, appeals and other matters. However, it was agreed by collateral letters that the provision in Article 132(2) enabling the Supreme Court to grant special leave on the refusal of a certificate by the High Court need not apply to the state. Action on this will, however, be taken only when the state government comes up with a proposal in this behalf. Honorable members will notice that the question of nomenclature of the governor and the chief minister could not be settled. This is a matter which is provided for in the state constitution, which at present uses the expression governor and chief minister. A change in the nomenclature can be made only by amendment of the state constitution by the state legislature. So far as the chief minister is concerned, there should be no objection to the adoption of the designation prime minister in the state if the legislature of the state of Jammu and Kashmir amends its constitution accordingly. Until this is done, the present designation would continue. Sheikh Abdullah was very anxious that to start with, the constitutional relationship between the state and the center should be as it was in 2003 when he was in power. It was explained to him that the clock could not be put back in this manner. Mirza Afzal Beg pressed for the transfer of provisions relating to fundamental rights to the state constitution, the removal of the supervision and control of the Election Commission of India over elections to the state legislature and the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court over all subjects in the state list. 840 वर्ड है, 80 की स्पीड है. अगर अच्छा लिखा है टाइप करेंगे, अदरवाइज मैं आपकी डिक्टेशन यहीं पे लगा रहा हूँ स्पीकर पे. और ये आपको SSC C D ग्रेड 45 YouTube @80 के नाम से मिलेगा. URL सेम है.